What's up, everyone, and welcome to Clear Talk. So in this video, we are going to be doing our weekly update in the Middle East. So uh, buckle in, because this not pretty. But before we do that, please consider subscribing, like, share, comment, all that good stuff if you're enjoying the content. And please check out my other channels, JMD Drummer, JMD Play. You can check out Discord, one-time donations, or JMD Nation up there, $3 a month Patreon. That would be much appreciated. Anything you do is much appreciated. So, um, yes. So in this video, like I said, we're gonna be going over the Middle East. So buckle in, y'all. This is getting annoying. All right, so here we are with the out of Reuters. Israel steps up pressure in North Gaza amid fears of siege and displacement. So, we have uh, Israel's pretty much gone back to the north part of Gaza. Still, while all the other stuff's going on, which we're going to touch on, they're still doing their business in Gaza. They have not let up. They're continuing on. We say this every week. More bombings, more raids on camps and everything, all in the name of fighting Hamas. So here we have in so Israeli forces tighten their squeeze around Jabalia in North Gaza on Monday. That's a refugee camp, killing at least 10 people, queuing for food, according to the Palestinian medics, and instructing people to evacuate as they push in against Hamas fighters. There's some pictures, of course. You can see people trying to once again being displaced. Did I? Oh yeah, Jabalia has been the focus of an Israeli offensive for around 10 days. I thought it was a little more than that. And the military has now encircled the camp and sent tanks into nearby. I'm probably going to mess these up. Bet Lahia, 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 probably Lahia. And then Hanon towns with a declared aimed of stomping out Hamas fighters who are trying to regroup there. Jabalia is home to one of the 8 historic refugee camps in the Gaza Strip. As the operation has continued, people there have been caught between Israeli demands to move south and Hamas calls not to leave because it is too risky to do so. We have been hit from air and the ground nonstop for a week. They want us to leave. They want to punish us for refusing to leave our homes, said Marwa, 26, who left with her family to a school in Gaza City. People were afraid they would never be able to return if they head south. The United Nations Human Rights Office said the Israeli military appeared to be cutting off North Gaza completely from the rest of the Gaza Strip. Separation of North Gaza raises further concerns that Israel does not intend to allow citizens to return to their homes, and the repeated calls for all Palestinians to leave North Gaza raise grave concerns of large-scale forced transfer of the civilian population, it said in a statement. Israeli officials have evacuation orders were said evacuation orders were aimed at separating Hamas fighters from civilians, denied that there was any systematic plan to clear civilians out of Jabalia or other northern areas. On Monday, the military said it was killed the head of Hamas's aerial unit, Samir Abu Daka, maybe, who said was among those responsible for the use of paragliders by Hamas gunmen on October 7th. But the operation was underlined how impossible life has become for Gaza civilians as fighting has shifted between different areas of the enclave. 10 people, let's hold this for a second because we will watch that. 10 people were killed and 40 wounded by a tank shelling on Monday in Jabalia, including women and children, Palestinian medics said, while another 8 were killed in separate incident in Gaza City's Sheikh Radwan district. The Israeli military said the incident was very under review. The IDF directs its strikes and operations only against terror targets and operations and does not target civilian objects and civilians. Ha! Ha! At this point, how in the hell they actually continue to say that? United Nations has described dire conditions affecting the civilian population remain in Jabalia, and with more than 50,000 people displaced and water, wells, bakeries, medical points, and shelters shut down. UN Security Antonio Guterres on Monday condemned the level of civilian casualties in northern Gaza. The White House National Security Council spokesman said that Israel has responsibility to do more to ensure Palestinian civilians were not harmed by its attack against Hamas. He was commenting on an Israeli missile attack on tents inside Al-Aqsa Hospital in the city of Adel al-Balah in the central Gaza Strip, which killed 4 people and wounded dozens of others. Israel said the strike targeted Hamas militants. The White House comments appear to have come following the posting of videos on social media platforms of what happened to be Palestinians burning alive in the tents set ablaze by the missiles. The images and video of what appear to be displaced civilians burning alive following an Israeli airstrike are deeply disturbing, and we have made our concerns clear to the Israeli government. Really? Have you? Israel has a responsibility to do more to avoid civilian casualties, and what happened here is horrifying, even if Hamas is operating near the hospital in an attempt to use civilians as human shields. The human shield stuff is just annoying at this point. The northern part of Gaza, for them using that as an excuse, the northern part of Gaza, home to well over half the territory's 2.3 million people, was heavily bombed in the first phase. Yeah, we know that. Around 400,000 people remain, according to the United Nations estimate. Hamas said Israel aimed to displace the people from North Gaza. The international community should act against these war crimes. So here is the a video of this strike, and let's watch it real quick.
Displaced Palestinians woke up to their tents on fire in the early hours of Monday after an Israeli airstrike hit Al-Aqsa Hospital in central Gaza. Medics reported several people killed and dozens of others wounded. I swear there's no safety, whether it's a hospital, a school, or any place, this woman said. Nearly 5 days ago, they hit a school, and today they hit the tents. As you see, what can we do? Israel's military said it struck militants operating from a command center inside the compound. It accuses Hamas of using civilian facilities for military purposes, which Hamas denies. The strike came as Israeli forces widened their raid into northern Gaza. Residents said the military had isolated several areas in the far north of the enclave, including Jabalia, Gaza's largest historic refugee camp. As strikes continued, medics were seen rushing wounded Palestinians to Kamal Adwan Hospital in Jabalia on Sunday. The Israeli military said earlier that it had ordered evacuations in areas including Kamal Adwan Hospital. 9 days into a major Israeli operation in northern Gaza, the Hamas-run Gaza government media office said Israeli strikes had killed around 300 Palestinians there. It said Israel's bombardment of civilian houses and displacement shelters was intended to force residents to leave Gaza once and for all, which Israel denies. Palestinian and United Nations officials say there are no safe areas in the enclave. They're also worried about severe shortages of food, fuel and medical supplies in northern Gaza, saying there's a risk of famine there. An Israeli military statement on Sunday said forces operating throughout the Gaza Strip in the past 24 hours had attacked about 40 targets and killed dozens of militants.
So yeah, they you had Alaska, you probably have heard it earlier on, has been one hospital that's been attacked quite a few times. It's so damaged that they really can't even use the hospital itself. So they had set up tents outside to work on the sick and ill and injured and all that good stuff. And like we've seen over and over and over again, um, Israel bombs it. Claims, as they always do, that there's some Hamas militant there that they're trying to get. But then you have videos and everything of just look like completely innocent people. There was videos of uh, guy on the table with an IV in him burning alive. This is a constant. It's a constant. It never ends. Fears that Israel intends to empty northern Gaza areas have been fueled by a proposal floating by the former Israeli generals, which call for North Gaza to be cleared of civilians and remaining militants to be put under siege until they surrender. The military has denied such designs. Yeah, there are generals that are asking, calling. There are talks apparently that is being considered for them to completely cut off North Gaza. Which they've already got split from north and south. They've got a barrier split, trying to get everybody out, or like all, so-called, the civilians out. Is what they say. They're trying to get them to move south. The reason why they're bombing everybody, because scared, trying to scare them that they're going to die otherwise, because that's just the way Israel does. And then they're going to cut off and do a siege on the north part of Gaza to try to basically starve and the militant left in of Hamas left in the north Gaza. That's their intent. Like that's what they are, or what's being said. That they're going to do a complete siege, water, food, everything on North Gaza to try to make Hamas militants there surrender. We have not received a plan like that. Military spokesman Shoshani tell reports. It's probably bullshit. We're making sure we're getting civilians out of harm's way while we operate against those terror cells in Jabalia. The proposal's main author, Giora, whatever, Eland, said his plan was meant to pressure Hamas to release hostages by ending its control of territory and aid rather than sending Israeli forces in to battle its fighters. What they're doing in Jabalia now is more of the same. My plan is not being implemented. Israel's plan for the future of God. What do you mean your plan is not being implemented? So you must not have wanted them to even let people get out. Israel's plan for the future of Gaza is unclear. Yeah, we know that. And we know the story. So yeah, that's what's going on in Gaza. Displacing people again, trying to get the north completely cleared out, which we already know that, there's been plans surfacing and around resettling Gaza, the North Gaza and all that kind of stuff. There's been plans put out for 2035. I've seen pictures and stuff, a bit, this 10-year plan to rebuild Gaza into this major, like, modern trading destination. And I mean, it's crazy. And then, so we have this going on in Lebanon.
The village of El Kiam in southern Lebanon comes under Israeli fire. On Saturday, the Israeli military ordered residents of more than 20 villages in the south to evacuate. The order mentioned villages that have already been recent targets of Israeli attacks. The Israeli military says the evacuations are needed to ensure the safety of residents, claiming Hezbollah is using sites to conceal weapons, something Hezbollah denies. Civilians, meanwhile, are paying a heavy price. Grieving families buried their loved ones here in the town of Sidon. They were killed in an Israeli strike on a village in the region. The town has become a center for people seeking refuge from the violence.
It's not a life. 2 or 3 families living in one room. Is that a life?
Sometimes I wish I'd died instead. Why? Because I challenge any government official, anyone, without exception, to come and spend just one night with us in one of these rooms and to use these bathrooms.
UNICEF is working on the ground trying to help in what is a massive task.
More than 1.2 million Lebanese have been displaced, 400,000 children by this war that Lebanon has not asked for. These are people that left their homes with almost nothing.
The Israeli army launched an offensive in Lebanon last month. It did so, it said, to keep Hezbollah away from border areas and allow around 60,000 displaced people to return to their homes in northern Israel. Hezbollah rocket fire continues. It has fired deeper into Israel, including launching rockets on Friday on the northern Israeli city of Haifa.
That's right. So, you've had here, all the stuff that they've been doing in Lebanon, and saying that they're done, dismantled Hezbollah like significantly, and degrading their abilities to do this and that, blah 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 blah. And then what happened this weekend? Hezbollah was able to fly a drone, or a multitude of drones, actually, quite a few of them, through the Iron Dome defenses, undetected, and struck a city just north of Tel Aviv. It was struck the city, but like a military site at the city. So even after all that, they're still just attacking military sites. Keep that in mind. So they attacked a military site, and and I think there was a few people I think was injured, militant IDF members or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a few of them that were injured. I don't know if anyone were killed, but yeah, they were able to do that. So apparently you aren't completely, they're able to, they're finding ways to get through your defenses and attack you anyways. So apparently they're not too dismantled. Yeah, it might not be their missiles and stuff that, the Iron Dome most certainly can take out, but they're getting creative apparently and still doing damage where they want. And apparently there's that was said that's just the start, and they were going to continue. So what have you done, really? I mean, and then there, UNICEF right there in that video, that's UN Peacekeepers. And Israel has apparently done some attacks on UNICEF as well, in 2 or 3 locations, headquarters. These are peacekeepers, and they're attacking the facilities. What part of that is Hezbollah? I mean, what is that? You're attacking UN peacekeepers in Lebanon, claiming that they are in on and haven't done anything to prevent Hezbollah from doing their attacks for over the past year. For starters, it's not really what they're there for. But I mean, And you simply could have just stopped your shit in Gaza and that would have stopped. The continued pushing of people in Lebanon, they're consistently trying to push further and further north into Lebanon, continuously doing attacks in Lebanon. And then here we have Netanyahu tells U.S. that Israel will strike Iranian military, not nuclear or oil targets. So, I mean, I guess this is better. This is from the Washington Post, which honestly I hate the way some of this is read out. And I'll address that as we go. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told the Biden administration he is willing to strike military rather than oil or nuclear facilities in Iran, according to two officials familiar with the matter, suggesting a more limited counterstrike aimed at preventing a full-scale war. In the past 2 weeks, since Iran's latest missile barrage on Israel, its second direct attack in 6 months, the Middle East has braced for Israel's promised response, fearing the two countries' decade-long shadow war can explode into a head-on military confrontation. Yes, it's just not mentioned at all why Iran attacked Israel, right? Not to suggest, not saying that Israel attacked first. Let's just leave that part out. It comes at a politically fraught time in Washington, less than a month before the elections, and President Joe Biden has said publicly he would not support an Israeli strike on nuclear-related sites. When Biden and Netanyahu spoke Wednesday, check this out. I'm sorry. I don't even have it over here. Check this out. Their first call in more than 7 weeks after months of rising tensions between the two men. They just spoke the first time in 7 weeks? What the hell? They should be on the phone almost every fucking day. Why is it that they haven't talked in 7 weeks? The Prime Minister said he was planning to target military infrastructure in Iran, according to the U.S. officials and an official familiar with the matter. Like others in this story, they spoke to the condition of immunity and immunity to discuss sensitive deliberations. The Israel Prime Minister's office did not reply. Whatever. The retaliation action would be collaborated to avoid perception of political interference in the U.S. elections. The official familiar with the matter said, signaling Netanyahu's understanding that the scope of the Israeli strike has the potential to reshape the presidential race. That's interesting. An Israeli strike on Iranian oil facilities would send energy prices soaring, analysts say, while an attack on the country's nuclear research program would erase any remaining red lines governing Israel's conflict with Iran, triggering further escalation and risking a more direct U.S. military role. Netanyahu's stated plan to go after military sites instead, as Israel did after Iran's attack in April, was met with relief in Washington. Okay, well, yeah. Netanyahu was in a more moderated place. In that discussion that he had previously been, said the U.S. official, described the call between the two leaders. The apparent softening of the prime minister's stance factored into Biden's decision to send a powerful missile defense system to Israel. Yeah, that's right. We're sending the THAAD system to Israel. After that call, the president is more inclined to do it. On Sunday, the Pentagon announced that it was deploying its anti-ballistic THAAD battery system to Israel, along with about 100 U.S. military personnel. This is in addition to the other 40 to 60,000 we already have there. which officials say is expected to arrive in the coming days, underscores the U.S.'s ironclad commitment to the defense of Israel. The Israeli strike on Iran could be carried out before the elections on November 5th. The official familiar with the matter said because the lack of action would be interpreted by Iran as a sign of weakness. I don't think Iran gives a damn about you looking weak. They look at this as it would be a sign of weakness, which would make Iran then attack again because they would feel that Israel was so weak that they think Iran thinks like they do. And that, Iran's going to think that, they're going to look at us as weak, so they're going to go ahead and attack us and try to finish us off. And that's not a way Iran thinks. It's not a way Iran works. That's how you work. The projection is unreal here. Zohar Palti, I guess that's right, a former intelligence director for Mossad, said Netanyahu will need to balance Washington's appeal for moderation with the public demand on Israel for an overwhelming response. The Iranians have lost every measure of restraint that they used to have, he said. Without the U.S. weapons, Israel cannot fight. But it is Israel who takes the risk and knows how to do the job. So he's acknowledging without U.S. weapons, Israel cannot fight. So why have we not why haven't we not stopped giving them weapons? If we really wanted to stop, if we really wanted to cease fire, if we really wanted to get them to chill out, seems like we would just stop giving them weapons. Seems pretty damn easy, isn't it? On Thursday night, the official familiar with the matter said Netanyahu convened his security cabinet for 3 hours to discuss the options on the table. But he did not seek official authorization for the attack from his cabinet, keeping the timing intentionally open-ended. Within the Israeli defense establishment, there is a concern that the strike will not be forceful enough or public enough to deter Iran from another direct attack on Israel or from developing nuclear weapons. Okay, they're not even close to developing nuclear weapons. Even if they up the scale on trying to develop them, it would still take a while before they could get there. But you see, deter Iran from another direct attack. The problem is that if it is forceful enough or public enough, that is the exact thing that will have to force Iran's hand at doing another attack. If it's another nothing attack, hitting a little military, like if they really is just like a hit a military area, I seriously doubt Iran's even going to strike back. They're probably just going to let it go. The Israeli military wants to hit Iran's military leadership because it doesn't hurt the people and it doesn't erupt the region into a larger war. Gil Telsher, I don't know, a political scientist at Hebrew University who is is a contact with senior, I don't know why, I kept wanting to say something else, with senior members of Israel's defensive establishment, but this is not how Netanyahu is thinking. In April, here's another thing. In April, after a U.S.-led coalition helped Israeli intercept hundreds of Iranian drones and missiles, a large but well-choreographed attack, Israel responded with a pinpoint strike on an airbase in Isfahan in central Iran. Israel's officials mostly kept quiet after the attack, with the exception of the security minister who posted that the response was lame. On October 1st, wait a minute, is this where I was? Yeah, on October, and they just like forget the fact that Israel actually attacked. They're acting like Iran attacked first, and then Israel responded, when actually Israel was the one that first attacked. On October 7th, after a successful operation against Iran and its proxies, assassination of Nasrallah, yeah, this was not in retaliation for that. Partially, maybe, but not completely. Fired nearly 200 missiles at Israel, this time without warning, killing a Palestinian. See, they're killing a Palestinian man in the West Bank. That was because of the defense system. The defense system took out the rocket and it fell. I don't even know if the rocket or the defense rocket, one of the other, debris from it fell and killed the Palestinian man, hitting at least 2 military installations. When we responded last time, they didn't get the message. So the alternate now is between restraint or retaliation, and the answer is obvious. So their last attack was supposed to give them the message, Iran the message, that they are not supposed to attack us. When you're the one that first attacked to begin with. But Israel is already fighting on multiple fronts. I don't think the rest of this is really necessary to really go over. Well, on timing too, Netanyahu appeared to be taking cues from Washington. The United States is giving Israel and the Netanyahu government a bear hug, but for Hezbollah, said a former senior Israeli department official who is familiar with the security decisions, sending THAAD and promising all kinds of weapons that we need to finish off Hezbollah, saying that we can deal with Iran later. While Netanyahu would continue to consult with U.S. officials on Israel's looming strike against Iran, he would not wait for a green light from Washington, said an Israeli official close to the prime minister. The person who will decide on the Israeli response to Iran will be Netanyahu. Hovering over the final decision of the complex and interrelated political dynamics in Washington and Tehran, Til Shir, a political analyst, said Netanyahu's team was alarmed by the recent elections of Iran's reformist president Mossad Pezeshkian, who has signaled an openness to revive nuclear talks with the West. So he's alarmed by the new Iranian president, who's a little bit more liberal and was open to reviving nuclear talks. That was alarming to Netanyahu's team. If Vice President Kamala Harris is elected, Netanyahu's thinking the nuclear deal will be back on the table, she said, and so now is strategic movement to undermine this. This is Netanyahu, and so now is a strategic moment to undermine reviving and getting back in a nuclear deal, which was the best damn thing for everybody. It was keeping peace in the area. Iran was keeping to the agreement. They weren't producing nuclear weapons or enriching uranium to the point of that. Which makes Israel safer. Makes the whole fucking region safer. I mean, it's exactly what Israel should want. But they were able to get Trump to rip it up and get out of the deal. And they turned around and Trump helped give them the Golan Heights, annexing it from Syria. Then he moved the embassy and everything to Jerusalem. This is this is the problem. Netanyahu wants to prevent all that. They ultimately want to go after Iran. Once they're done here, they're going to go after Iran. Once they're done in Hezbollah. So it's wipe out Gaza, take care of Hezbollah, probably annex part of Lebanon while they're at it. Then they're going to go after Iran. We're continuing to send more and more troops and equipment. We're continuing to send weapons, even though we're very upset with how they're using those weapons. But we're still going to send them to you. For the love of everything in this world, somebody stop Israel. They are out of control. They're genocidal. They are, I mean, and I'm speaking of the I'm speaking of the government and the officials and IDF. But hell, a lot of the population is behind them. Now, the only thing I can say is that they've been brainwashed and propagandized by their media and everything to believe certain things. They're not told the whole story. They're not shown all the stuff that's happened in Gaza or Hezbollah. They're only shown certain things by the Israeli media and told certain things. Yeah, there's your weekly update. Shit's still crazy, and nothing is stopping. There's no slowing down. I mean, I guess maybe luckily it ultimately is still in the air though. Even the military stuff. Ultimately, Netanyahu, it says there, will be the one to respond. He will make the decision. So really, it's going to come down to, and he might say that he's going to do military only, but when it comes down to it, he might decide, majority of them will hit military, but we're going to shoot one or two of them that's actually going to aim for, if it happens to hit an oil rig or happens to hit a nuclear plant, oopsie. He could decide to hit all of it. Because he's a madman. And he's got madmen around him. They're all crazy. And Biden isn't much better. He's right there along with them, helping them out. Wagging his finger and acting mad. Calling them a effing this and effing that, but still sending them weapons. That's basically a green light. So what are we doing? Thank you for joining me. It's just not looking good. Every week it just seems to get worse. Thank you for checking me out, checking us out, watching through if you did. again, if you've watched all the way to this point, message, comment, ceasefire, please. Ceasefire now. Till next time, Clear Talk. Peace. I'm out.